We pull no punches. Press the button, subscribe.
Fight fans, welcome, and today I have here with me a guest who I feel is becoming my co-pilot on the channel, backed by popular demand and rave reviews. Rob Boxing Shrew, how you doing, mate?
You're right, mate. Popular demand, more like I was. No one else would do it.
You was the first one on the list, I can assure
Yeah,
you that.
yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
Thanks for having me, mate.
No problem, it's great to have you back on again.
Cheers, man.
Well, today's subject is a sticky point for a lot of people to talk about. There's lots of media talk on social media. It's what I've labelled the shocking situation of Boxer. I mean, Rob, where do we begin with this really? The facts are, as of late, they've lost their contract at Sky. We've heard rumours of having slots on things like BBC iPlayer. I state that is just rumours. All we have now is the silent treatment from Boxer. They're not really posting anything online on their social media pages. What do you make of this? I'm going to call it the debacle.
It's a mess, isn't it? Like, it's a shame as well. Like, before the streaming platforms come in, like the staple of British boxing for a long time was Sky, wasn't it? If you could get on Sky, you'd made it as a promoter, as a fighter. It was where all the access was, where all the Sky Sports News, the Paris Sky Sports News, being on after the football on a Saturday night, Premier League. It was just the place to be. And Shalom and Boxer had won the lottery when they got that contract when Hearn had gone to the zone, didn't they? So yeah, just, I mean, where do you even start? It's just such a mess at the moment. And the silent treatment, you bang on. The fact there's no real communication, it speaks volumes, really, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you say about obviously it was fantastic times for them, for Boxer and Ben Shalom to get that Sky contract.
Yeah.
It started a bit slow. We did have some good events, which we will talk about later. Where do you think it's actually gone wrong for Boxer and their broadcast deal with Sky then? What do you think's been the problem?
Sky had it great for a while with Eddie. He became a very experienced front man for Matchroom and for Sky. Obviously, he had a really, really good stable. Shalom sort of came in off the back of that, was kind of compared to Matchroom and Eddie for a while, wasn't he? It's like anything, you always compare it to how it used to be. And he got the gig probably off the back of the boxer tournaments, really. And they were really good watch. Some fantastic fights, but going from quarterfinal, semi-finals and final in one night is very different to trying to put on regular cards a couple of months, isn't it? And building that stable. The power of Sky as well, it is still there. However, you've got, Frank was on TNT. DAZN has just blown up since the Saudi money came in, let's be honest. With pretty much a who's who all working with Riyadh Season and DAZN now. So they've kind of found themselves, believe it or not, Sky Sports have found themselves on the outside of things. And that's just, the collateral damage of that has been Boxer.
Yeah, I agree. And also, the point you made there about Eddie Hearn being obviously Matchroom and the Sky deal they had before, do you think it could just be a case of it was a very, very hard thing to follow with Matchroom of how good they were? I know they put plenty of pay-per-views on, Matchroom did, but them pay-per-view days were in sort of like our era, what we probably consider the golden days of British boxing. There were some fantastic nights we had.
AJ,
nights, AJ, nights at the O2, lots of regular events, probably 3 or 4 at the O2 a year.
Yeah.
That don't happen as such now. Was it just a very, very hard thing for Boxer and Ben Shalom to carry on? Because a lot of people, obviously, when you look at the tricky situations that are going on now, always compare to what Matchroom and Eddie Hearn done before at Sky. Could it just be a case of that, or they're just being poor?
It's poison chalice, isn't it? It's a shame that fighters go with the promoters and not with the channel. They all of Eddie's fighters, they were never signed to Sky. Sky was just part of a deal to get them with Matchroom. So when they all went, it was very, very difficult for Shalom to start from scratch. To be fair to him, he never really signed a ready-made superstar either, did he? You could argue Frank and Eddie in the last 5 years have signed several between them, both here and abroad. Shalom, he's done very well picking up some very good, talented fighters from the amateurs, in particular some of the Olympians that he's signed. But again, where does that go? Well, I'm sure we'll go on to a few of them, but I think of someone like Caroline Dubois and Lauren Price, who are just out in the cold. Really, Lauren Price should be fighting for undisputed. Caroline Dubois should be in massive fights now. They don't even have dates. And we'll probably go on to where you think they'll be going. But you look at somewhere like MVP, who are throwing money at women's boxing at the minute. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, some of boxers' matchmaking has left a lot to be spoke about. We've had some
Oh,
strange
terrible.
matchups
Yeah. Look
in the
at Fraser
past.
Clark, how they built Fraser Clark before he got eventually his head caved in by Fabio Wardley. Like, just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the roster you spoke about, we'll come on to that now. When you look at the fact of Joshua Buatsi's now joined Queensbury, quickly becoming the home of the light heavyweights, as Frank's calling it, and you've got to
Yeah.
agree with him on the British scene.
Yeah.
And we've heard rumours that fighters have also been given the silent treatment too. I mean, what are you expecting from their fighters? You're expecting them just to fragment?
Yes, because I mean, I'm no expert on fighter contracts, but there's got to be something in their contracts which say if you don't meet this, and this criteria of getting me out for, because they don't always do it on year deals, it's fight deals, isn't it? It might be a 4 or 5 fight deal. You know, fighters like Adam Azim and Ben Whitaker, they're going to get snapped up so easily. If there's any sort of breach of contract, I'm not saying there is. Please don't come at me, boxer. But if there was, it makes them very, very attractive free agents, these fighters, who with respect will not want to fight on BBC iPlayer. It's not even on terrestrial TV. You got to press a button. I mean, the Boatsi thing you said, that made me laugh because 2 years ago he left Matchroom because he didn't want to fight on an app. And now it's
Yeah.
cool to be on an app. He'll be asking us all to download the fucker, won't he?
I know, yeah, that is
So
funny.
yeah, it's funny how these things turn around. But yeah, I mean, the stable from a talent point of view is excellent. And the timing is just terrible, isn't it? You've got a couple of fighters who are at world level, and then you've got fighters like Azim, Ben Whitaker, who are just going to blow up in the next 18 months, 2 years on the world scene. And it's probably not going to be with Boxer and Sky, is it? Well, certainly not with Sky. So um, I digress a bit, but I thought they might have had a chance with the TNT gig. I did
I thought exactly
because
that. Yeah.
it felt like the natural thing for
Yeah.
them to step in because Frank had obviously gone to DAZN, but it doesn't seem. I've heard nothing to suggest that TNT will be picking that up. So yeah, obviously I'll knock back to you.
Well, the only thing really, the rumours we've heard is pretty much of iPlayer. I mean, for me, and I'm sure a lot of the boxing fans, that would be an absolute disaster because it won't be like you say. It's how it's situated. I know you've got the Zone that's an app, but it's like a designated sports app. iPlayer isn't that. So it's going to be a totally different kettle of fish. It won't be very mainstream. I read it would be selective fight nights and all that. I just don't see how
Who's
it
going to
would
stick
work.
around for that as well?
It's just it's just not good. I mean, the TNT thing, I agree with you. I think that's the ideal situation to do. But if they don't get the TNT deal, it's really starting to look bleak. I mean, do you think there could be a case here that Boxer could be finished, or are you expecting them to get a broadcast deal?
I don't know. It's a massive question, isn't it? Like a year ago, if you told me that when their Sky deal is up, will they get somewhere else? Of course, because they've got fingers in enough pies where they've got some sort of deal with Chris Eubank Jr., haven't they? I'm sure they'll be in his corner, fighting his corner by November still with the Ben rematch, but yeah, I don't really know where it goes. I mean, it would be some fall from grace getting the Sky deal to then being on BBC iPlayer because I know people knock the boxing on terrestrial TV like Channel 5, but I would much rather be a fighter who's coming through who can't get up the big deals. I'd rather go and fight on Channel 5 than BBC iPlayer. It's not BBC
Absolutely.
One on a Friday night
Yeah.
or ITV like the glory days, the original Ben Eubank Watson days, yeah,
It's
I just don't
shocking.
see where it goes. I speak to a lot of people as well, like in the industry who know way more than me, and they have no clue. They have no clue. The
Yeah,
fighters have gone quiet as well.
I
I'm
agree.
sure legally they're not allowed to talk about it, and that's fair enough, isn't it? Because they don't want to, Boxer have, it's well documented how many lawsuits they've had with different parties the last few years.
Hopefully not with
Um,
me now after this show.
no, well, we're only talking about what's out there, aren't we? We're not stating
Definitely.
anything as fact here, unless it's been
Mm,
put out there as fact.
yeah.
Trust me, I've been burnt by that. So
Mm.
I, yeah, I don't want to see them go under because the more broadcasters, the more fighters, the more promoters, it's better for everybody. I love it when it's fight after fight after fight every week.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the point I was going to come to. Even though it'd be nice to have really all the main stables, Boxer, Queensbury, Matchroom, on the zone, that would be my ideal situation. Just
Yeah,
have one platform.
yeah,
But if they can't do that, go TNT. But that is the point you've just made there. It's better for boxing fans to have Boxer on board with everyone else because if you look at it, even though they get their critics, we've
yeah,
criticised shows, criticised matchups, but it's still better to have them than not have
yeah,
them. And it's just
yeah.
you just want it all for British boxing and world boxing. So it's interesting times. Nobody seems to have any idea, like you've said, about what is going on with them. I've heard through the grapevine a couple of fighters have been told they may hear something this week, but let's see what happens. So it's
Mm.
developing news. At the moment, we're stuck with a silent treatment. No one's got any idea about what's happening in the broadcast deal. For the sake of us boxing fans, let's hope that gets sorted.
Of course.
But a point that you made there was the Chris Eubank Jr. It will be interesting to see with Eubank Jr. Ben 2 being announced for November at Tottenham, whether Boxer will be involved with this because it's a very complex involvement that they have with Eubank. I don't think it's very clear for anybody really, but some kind of arrangement about they're not promoting him, but they're in partnership with him. It's some kind of agreement they've got.
Like a
So
management, really, isn't it?
like a management situation, but they don't actually sort of say that. So, do you think, as it stands, I mean, bear in mind it's November, a long time away. Do you think Boxer are going to be involved with that fight?
As it stands at the moment, I'll probably say yes. I think Shalom, they're not going to cease to be a business by Christmas. I mean, I'd be bloody amazed if they were. And yeah, I do think they'll be involved. I do. I think certainly, a situation and fight of that magnitude, like they're going to try and keep themselves as relevant as possible. I say that with the utmost respect. At the moment, the relevance is the big issue. There's no shows, there's no real communication.
That's the yeah.
Buried their heads in the sand, and I understand that because it's an embarrassing situation, and they don't want to be committing to saying this fight will happen, this fighter will be on this card because they don't have any cards at the moment, do they?
No, no, that
Mental,
is no
absolutely mental.
crazy.
How can a promotional company who has Ben Whittaker, Adam Azim, Lauren Price, Karis Artenstall, Natasha Jonas, um, throw some more at me, Chris Billum Smith. Do you know what I mean? All these brilliant fighters, and there's no shows, like no shows planned. If you think there's some shows at the moment that are booked in for November,
Mm,
potentially December,
yep.
like mad,
It's
mad.
madness. I mean,
Mm.
I've noticed as well when we talk about the stars of Boxer. Obviously, they've got their world champions, they've got their belt holders. You've got your Lauren Prices, your Callum
Yeah.
Simpsons. The
Callum
first one
Simpson,
we
yes, sorry, I missed Callum Simpson,
Callum
yeah. Of
Simpson, yeah, the first one we always mention is Ben Whittaker,
course it is, yeah.
because of obviously he's what he brings. He's commercially very very
Yeah.
good. He creates a lot of headlines. Um, I do wonder if someone like Ben Whittaker, if looking forward with him, if Boxer aren't getting a promotion, a broadcast deal, I think he's absolutely made for Eddie Hearn. I think he could do wonders with him and have some absolutely cracking shows with him. Do you?
I completely agree. Completely agree. We were actually talking about this a few days ago, weren't we, on message? And yeah, absolutely, that would be the first port of call. Especially because he's got the American gig as well. He can fight him wherever he wants on any undercard as any main event. Stick him on a Puerto Rico show, in 4 weeks, no problem at all.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of traction in America now. With fighters like Shakur Stevenson, Bam Rodriguez. You could stick Whitaker on any of those undercards and he'd
Oh,
shine.
Yeah,
You don't have to like him, but he puts bums on seats,
he
and
definitely does. Yeah,
if he could crack America, wow, like he could he could blow up overnight. I mean, I know he went viral anyway because of his dancing and tapping people on the head and all that bollocks. But for what he does in the ring, I think it could blow up. On a side, I also could picture him. I said the other day, didn't I? With Top Rank. I could see it. Not Top Rank, sorry. Golden Boy. I could see him with De La Hoya. But yeah, I mean, obviously Matchroom's where it's at. So in terms of commercially in the States, so yeah, I would agree with you on that.
yeah. I think he'd be the by far the best move for him. I'm sure I've seen a lot of people saying that as well before. I just think with as well the way Ben Whittaker is as a character, I couldn't really see him being situated well with someone like Frank Warren. He just don't. He just doesn't sit in a good partnership with me. The old
I'll tell you
school
who he
and
would
the
fit
young
well with
school.
though. Dev Sarni would
Yeah,
he would drain
yeah.
Ben Whittaker. Like he would promote the shit out of him.
He would. Yeah,
But Frank maybe wouldn't. But yeah, Dev Sarni would have a field day. Yeah, the hype. Adam Azim as well. Like Adam Azim. Again, we're just talking speculatively here, but I can see him going to Queensbury because
I
if
think
he
it.
goes
Yeah,
to Matchroom, there's no
mm,
excuse for him to not have that Dalton
Dalton
Smith
Smith.
fight then, is there?
Yeah,
But this is the other thing with Boxer, by the way. I thought about earlier before all this had happened was the amount of times they were fucking about their fighters. Again, in my opinion, because of purse bids. Do you remember there was that
yeah.
period of time where you couldn't get the Fraser Clark and Wardley fight because Wardley was with Matchroom at the time, and it was kind of like, well, he's not fighting on your channel. I'm not having my guy fighting your channel. And then
Ben Shalom loved that one.
as soon as that Saudi teak came along, Ben Shalom was straight on it, wasn't he?
Yeah,
And all of a sudden those problems went away. Same happened with Adam Azim and Dalton Smith. They pretended. Remember, they pretended that Adam Azim was going to fight Harlem Eubank.
and then
As
it
a
just went
smoke
away.
screen. Yeah, it
Just
just
went
went
away.
away. Didn't happen. Didn't
And never
happen. No one
spoke
really
it.
talks about that either. But it's just bullshit like that that people remember.
Yeah.
Um,
They
but
do
again,
like the silent
that's
treatment, don't they?
yeah.
They've
I mean,
proven silent
that's a side
treatment.
note. It is. It is. That's a side note on it, really. But the big thing is, we want boxers to stay in the business. Of course, we do, and we want to see these fighters fight because the worst thing that could happen to any of these fighters is inactivity, go stale, and then when they get their big shot, they're not ready.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And the Adam Azim, Harlem Eubank, when I said about the silent treatment, literally, it was never spoke about again. It just went
Very
away,
sad.
didn't it? They
Yeah.
done their face off in the ring,
Yeah.
and it just went
Yeah, at
absolute
least
madness.
Eubank got his night. I know he didn't work out the other week, but at least he got his night against Catterall and he's got his big fight. Where whatever you think of a fight, but Azim, I mean, how long do you keep him away from these guys? He was literally mandatory for. Dalton Smith was mandatory for Azim's European title, and Azim gave it up. Like,
Mm.
and they were treating him like a prospect, but he was European champion. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
mad. I mean, you're talking about the names here. All the names you've mentioned, like the Lauren Prices, the Callum Smiths, the Ben Whitakers. Other names
Simpson.
on
Yeah,
the. Oh, it seems. I went other names on the roster as well. Ex world champions Chris Billum Smith.
yeah.
The other cruiserweight, they got Jack Massey. Some top solid domestic fights to be made. That are just these fighters are just there, just inactive.
Vidal Riley,
Vidal Royley, another.
TKV. Yeah,
Yep, all just sitting there inactive. There's so many domestic top fights to be made, even at domestic level,
yeah.
just inactive, just rotting away. It's absolutely shocking. And
Terrible.
like you say, let's hope that something gets sorted soon. It's just gone on far, far too long.
Mm.
But I don't want to just talk about the doom and gloom of Boxer. I don't think it's all been doom and gloom. We've had some decent pay-per-views. We got, for example, Eubank Smith twice. Not that people asked for it twice, but we got Eubank versus Liam Smith. Two totally different results, either fight. And then we got the longer-awaited Amir Khan versus Cal Brook. Boxer did deliver on some pay-per-views. Like I said, the Khan Brook, a lot of people want to see it. Even though it was years too late, we did get to see it. What's your opinion? Like, I don't think it's just been all bad, do you?
No. One we didn't, and it wasn't a pay per view, I don't think. But obviously, Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall was the
Yep,
week
sorry,
before
yeah.
Ben and Eubank as well. But to be fair, and again, I feel like I'm jumping on him here, but because you've mentioned those fights, they were very early in the Boxer Sky Sports tenure. Like I think it was they were the first two big events they put on, and they were back to back weeks 3.5 years ago.
Yeah,
Like 3.5 years ago.
yeah. It's
Like,
mad.
if you put it into perspective with that, yeah, we had but apart from that, we've had two fights between Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith. Can you name any more? Like, big fights that turned out to be classics. I mean, Fraser Clark. I'll give him Fraser Clark
And Wardley,
and Wardley won. That was on Sky, wasn't
cracking
it?
fight. Yeah,
Yeah, fight
cracker.
of the year. Okay,
Yeah,
absolutely, hands down. But again, that only happened because Fabio Wardley became a free agent and could name his price and go and fight on any show. Beforehand, he was with Matchroom and they didn't want to know. So again, there was an asterisk with that one as well. So yeah, it's been a tough time, but they have had a few good shows. But in a 3 to 5 year period, you'd bloody hope so, wouldn't you?
like you said though, them was it 3 weeks? Was it back to back? Where it was just you'd look at them weeks and just think
Yeah.
they were absolutely thriving. Then,
Yeah, and then
to,
that was pretty much it, wasn't it?
yeah, they had like a few, like say, 3 solid weeks, and then it just went away, and then was waiting for shows. But it's just sad to see, like, Boxer had Matchroom, had Eddie Earn. We all remember, as we spoke earlier, them great days of boxing. To see Boxer and Sky Sports falling away like this. I mean, even not just talking about Boxer, we want to see boxing on Sky Sports, really, don't we? Sky
Yes.
Sports is the perfect platform
Yeah.
for boxing.
Yeah. It's
And
still better than the zone.
yeah, I mean, I like the DAZN platform for
Me
what it
too.
is, having it all, especially with Queensbury now. But that bloody app needs some work sometimes.
Yeah.
If you've been out and you come back and you want to put it on,
Yeah.
I want to go forward a couple of minutes. I've gone forward 10 by one click of the remote, and
Yeah.
it pisses me right off. And
Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah. If you're on
I'm
Netflix or Amazon, you can go forward like 30 seconds, 30
lovely.
seconds, 30
Yeah,
seconds.
lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Netflix is better like that. I don't mind a bit of Netflix boxing now. I mean, the first one they put on was a bit glitchy, but the second one was really good. So I
Mm.
wouldn't mind Netflix, but Sky Sports on the TV is perfect. The Zone, if they master the app a little bit better, I'm all for the Zone being all on one platform, and I like the Queensbury Matchroom on it. But Sky Sports is the perfect, well-established platform to go on. We can't see them go out of boxing, can we?
Well, I mean, we don't want them to, but they could, unless they're willing. I mean, are they willing to really drop to the level of BBC iPlayer? Because can you imagine what their stable would look like in comparison? Like it would suddenly become small hall.
I
And
agree. Yeah,
again, I love small hall boxing. I know a few people within small hall boxing, and they put on some brilliant fights with fighters who are maybe regional level, 50-50s. They fill out your call, small BCB, BCB well in Black Country, and they put on some bloody brilliant shows in these hotels. But they are still hotels. Do you know what I mean? This isn't Manchester Arena, Brook and Khan anymore. So
yeah.
are they willing to drop to that level because they'd make very little money in
Yeah.
comparison?
But like you say about the roster as well, you're not going to have the roster that Boxer's got doing that, are you? It's not going to
No,
happen at all. It's just
no,
not going to happen.
no.
So it's very, very interesting
It's
times.
sad.
It's
It's
sad,
really sad. Yeah.
really sad. And I know, as we've said earlier, I know they get some stick, Boxer do, on social media with the way they've handled things. We've all been critics at times. We've also praised as well. Like I said, I don't think it's all been bad. They've put some decent pay-per-views on, signed some very good boxers that are just thriving to box again. But it's just sad the way it's just all completely fell apart. I mean, the silent treatment, not just for us fans, for a boxer to be promoted by them, to have the silent treatment the way they've had, is just truly, truly shocking. Billy Nelson, I think it was, who said the other week about Martin Bacoli hadn't heard anything for 6 weeks or something. It's just,
Another fighter, yeah, but we haven't mentioned, yeah.
yeah, exactly. There's that many to mention. You forget sometimes who boxer actually promote because bugger all's happening.
Yeah, and
That's
that's no
the
disrespect if we haven't mentioned them, by the way. Yeah,
no, totally.
yeah, yeah.
It's because like we haven't seen them for ages. We're seeing no
Yeah.
news of any fights or anything.
Yeah.
Let's hope it gets resolved. I mean, is there anything else you want to pick up on, Rob, while we're here, or?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't want to see anyone go out of work as well. Ben Shalom, he's tried his best. He's took a very small promotional company in comparison to the other big boys, and giving it a good go on Sky. And I'm sure he's tried his absolute best and probably done his nuts on some of the shows as well, but probably haven't done too well. But you don't want to see anyone out of work or failing in business. And just I just think that he could have been a bit more forthcoming throughout, really. You remember that interview he did that went viral? But to be fair, the outlet should not have leaked that. But before the interview, it was recorded when he didn't think so, and he said, right, we're not talking about Hearn, we're not talking about Matchroom.
Yep,
He
remember
basically
that.
put a prerequisite of what to and not to ask it, and it became a meme. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that was very early doors when they got the Sky contract, and that didn't help him because people sort of thought, are we getting the genuine article, when you're in front of a camera? So yeah, it's been a struggle, but I really hope they come out the other side of it with some sort of deal that doesn't drop to the levels of Small Hall and certainly not on BBC iPlayer.
Yeah, I totally agree. Fingers crossed we can hear good news, hopefully, for us fans and for the fighters themselves very, very soon. As Rob said, if we haven't mentioned any fighters, uh, it's nothing apart from we're not hearing anything from Boxer. So let's
Yeah,
hope for the fighters, for us fans, and for Ben Shalom himself that they can get something sorted very, very soon. Rob, this has been a great chat with you again. It's always fantastic to talk boxing with you.
you too, man.
I'm sure I'll have you on again very soon. You're always a great guest to have on, and you know your stuff
Thank
as
you.
well. So, Rob Boxing Shrew, everyone give him a follow on X. He's massive on there. You can see he's tagged there at Boxing Shrew. Always great content on his Twitter page. And
Not
if
for
everyone,
everybody.
not for everybody, not always. He has a bit of backlash now and then for his few posts, but I'm sure if you follow him on there, you all know. If everyone can like, share, and subscribe, I'd be much appreciated for that. Plenty of content coming. Had a little break last week after the Dubois and Usyk, but plenty of content coming on the way. Lots more previews, lots more reviews, lots more interviews. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon. Cheers.